It's 2017, the year's been going great. It's finally spring, snowflakes are melting, and absolutely nothing is going wrong. Green Lucario guy? He seems to be buddies with a few more of my friends. Guess I could add him. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Hello everyone, John here, and today I got some pretty moist, some pretty dank drama going on today. Today I'm going to be dealing with and discussing a pretty self-centered person who has been causing a lot of drama between me and my friends recently and spreading a few lies. This guy, his name is Giovanni. Now, I met this guy through a friend. I've heard a few iffy things about him, but I thought maybe I just add the guy, give him a chance, maybe see for myself exactly how he acts. That was the biggest mistake I have made so far this year. What exactly happened, you may be wondering? Well, I invited this guy to my Discord group after I got to know him a bit, just vaguely. Just, starting grounds, getting to know each other. It seemed alright. Maybe little annoyances here and there, but everything was fine until one day my friend mentioned a live stream debater that's become quite the hot topic to speak about, especially among YouTube commentary channels. Stephen Bunnell II, aka Destiny. Yes, I know. I probably said his name wrong, but please don't dislike the video. You see, this Giovanni guy loves to call out people from certain communities, but he doesn't really seem to investigate topics of drama very well. In fact, he seems to talk about people like this just to make himself feel better and smarter about himself. It all started off with Giovanni bringing up the JonTron and Destiny debate that had happened recently, exclaiming that Destiny is having incestual interactions with his own daughter, although Destiny doesn't even have a daughter, he has a son. Yet my friend Arcono comes along and claims that this clip of Destiny was taken out of context, only to be used against Destiny. And, well, then things go downhill from there very fast. Gio goes on to say that what JonTron was saying has been taken out of context as well. You know, the whole Nazi thing, Wall Street Journal junk. Although Arcono went on to say that JonTron had still said some pretty bad things. Need I note that Arcono wasn't claiming that the racist accusations against JonTron were true, but instead saying that JonTron had still said some pretty stupid things during his debate with Destiny. Keep this in mind for later. At this point, Gio had started to get a bit irritated at Arcono, saying that what John said was taken out of context. Arcono says that he isn't holding anything against John. He only watched the live debate. But Giovanni is trying to devalue Arcono's argument at this point, putting words into his mouth and saying that Arcono is claiming that JonTron is racist. Remember earlier, Arcono wasn't claiming that John was racist, but instead, he was saying John had said some stupid things in Destiny's debate. Arcono replied to Gio, asking Gio to quote him when he said, JonTron is racist. But Gio couldn't because Arcono never went out and said that John was a racist. But Gio ignores what Arcono said and goes on to rant and say that Arcono is acting very self-centered, like he knows everything. Gio also brings up iDubbbz to Arcono, asking him, do you think he's racist because he uses the N-word? Gio is spewing out nonsense to Arcono to try and make him seem bad. Meanwhile, Arcono is calling out Gio for putting words into his mouth and claiming that he is the one saying that JonTron is a racist. Gio also exclaims that Arcono is implying that, because he saw the debate live, that he doesn't need any other sources. Keep this in mind for later as well. You see, Giovanni heard Arcono say JonTron had said some stupid things, but Gio is assuming that Arcono is saying JonTron is a racist. And now, in an effort to be right, Gio is spewing out nonsense and forcing words into Arcono's mouth. Arcono says to Gio that he should go and watch the live debate between JonTron and Destiny himself. But Gio responds, "I don't need to watch something I already heard about enough, especially when Destiny keeps intentionally ignoring the other things John was trying to talk about." So Gio is claiming that he knows enough about Destiny from other YouTubers, like some black guy, yes, this is his name on YouTube, and Naked Ape. So just blindly relying on a few secondary sources instead of actually going to the main source and forming a constructive opinion, Arcono calls him out for saying this right after. At this point, I begin to step in more and say that people should look around more for sources rather than just a few guys making biased videos on the internet. Arcono then says that he's been watching Destiny livestream for about 5 years now, and that he finds his logic mostly sound. But Gio comes along and starts to nitpick again, eventually bringing up this infamous clip from one of Destiny's streams.
I explained to my daughter incest is wrong. Is it actually wrong? I don't know. This is a crazy fucking thing.
Arcono says this video clip of Destiny was taken out of context, but Gio comes along and proceeds to say, "How can you take something out of context from someone supporting pedophilia? That's quite impossible." No, Gio, this is completely possible. You see, something like this can be taken completely out of context, and it's happened before plenty of times. And actions like this have been occurring very recently.
I'd look her right in that fat, ugly face of hers. She's a slob.
You see, obviously in this clip, Donald Trump was hating on poor women that aren't very attractive. Such a misogynist, right? What if I told you that these audio clips have been taken out of context to be used against Trump in this advertisement?
I mean, both inside and out. You take a look at her, she's a slob. She talks like a truck driver. Rosie attacked me personally because I was very happy when her talk show failed. The other thing that failed, and this was a real monster, and everybody was suing her, was her magazine. Her magazine called Rosie was a total disaster. So I loved it. I gloat over it. I think it's wonderful because I like to see bad people fail. Rosie failed. I'm happy about it. She's basically a disaster. Well, she called me a snake oil salesman. And, you know, coming from Rosie, that's pretty low because when you look at her and when you see the mind is weak. I don't see it. I don't get it. I never understood. How does she even get on television? I believe Barbara made a terrible mistake putting her on, and I think Barbara's probably paying a big price. If I were running The View, I'd fire Rosie. I mean, I'd look her right in that fat, ugly face of hers. I'd say, Rosie, you're fired.
You can clearly see that several of these audio clips have been edited around from an interview Trump was having where he was criticizing Rosie O'Donnell. And it seems to fit in perfectly if you're someone who does not investigate. This is exactly the same as the Destiny clip. You can go back and you can find a live stream where he's talking about this, and it's said that he was making a made-up analogy. Why else do you think Destiny was bringing up a father and his daughter? Because Destiny has a son. You see, Gio, you can easily take these small clips out of context, and all the YouTubers that have called out Destiny for this pro-pedo-incest claim that he made haven't linked the source to the original live stream that he talked about this in. You think that they would because Naked Ape always likes to say, "Oh, I cite my sources," but when you go into the description of Naked Ape's video he makes about Destiny, he does not cite the source of that beginning intro 3-second clip. So we then advised Gio to try watching the original clip of Destiny saying this, and to show us that it's not taken out of context. But instead, Gio goes on to rant about how he doesn't want to listen to a pedophile, and that Arcono's a biased fanboy. So he acts stubborn and proceeds to tell me he isn't going to find the original clip, and I call him out for this. He's clearly too full of self-pride, and he doesn't want to be wrong in this situation. Gio keeps mindlessly ranting and ignoring what it is me and my buddy are trying to say to him, now claiming that we're defending a pedophile. What? How do you... How? We're just telling him that this clip of Destiny has been taken out of context and he should go watch the original. Because if it's not taken out of context and he actually is defending a pedophile, then Gio can show us the clip where it's not an analogy, like he claims. And that stinking Destiny is having sex with his younger daughter. Even though this is not true and Destiny has a son. But no, he's too afraid to be wrong. He doesn't want to have to tell us that maybe we're right. His ego is too inflated that one little poke, one little tiny prod, little tiny nudge against it is going to make him explode. I eventually make an analogy about how a man shoots a home invader, and then I proceed to show him how my analogy can be taken out of context to be used against me and say that I'm a racist. And he agrees with me that it's stupid how what I said can be taken out of context. Yet he misses my point entirely. I then explain to him that, just like my analogy, people can take small bits of info and make it seem terrible. But instead of listening to me, guess what he does? He posts some ranty reply and ignores me, disregarding everything me and Arcono had said, going back to saying that Arcono thinks JonTron is a racist, and still ranting about how Destiny's a pedophile. I call him out for being too full of self-pride, he gives a snide remark, I keep calling him out for his behavior, and at this point, he runs away. No more replies from Gio were made, and it basically ended from there. He was too full of himself to admit that maybe, just maybe, he could have been wrong, and probably too tired of repeating the same mindless thing over and over and over. I thought it was over. But it wasn't. You see, Giovanni has a Steam group. And what does he do in that Steam group? He makes announcements. Announcements to help pat himself on the back and make himself feel better about his life situations. Some of these announcements are about actual problems, and some of them are perfectly reasonable. But he made one against me and Arcono. The title of it is Defending a Crazy Pedophile is More Logical Than Defending a Person Who's Been Falsely Accused as a Racist Nazi. This is going to be fun. He also goes on in his little announcement to say, I'm making this post here due to high suspicions that they would attempt to delete my reply in their own attempt to try and tell me that I'm wrong, even though I barely ever have been. Now, I gotta call you out right here, Gio. When did we delete any of your replies on my Discord server? None. We didn't delete any of the replies. Not even after it was over. It's all still there. And everyone in the group can see it if they scroll up in the chat. And then he also goes on to exclaim how he was blocked. No, Gio, you're not blocked. You are on my friends list right now, and I could type you a message. You'll probably block me after this video is up because you'll be so mad. Gio goes on to link the two videos I had mentioned earlier. The first one from Naked Ape, and the second one from some black guy. Both of these videos aren't very fair towards Destiny, and the one from Naked Ape is definitely biased. But the way I see it is, Gio, you should be forming your opinion by looking at these people's videos and then watching Destiny's videos and forming an opinion for yourself. That's how you make a smart, constructive opinion. So, after he links the videos, he goes on to say, so to put it simply, I'm dealing with someone who wouldn't even bother watching a video made by someone else explain... He even spelled this stuff right. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm not even gonna edit that out. Someone else explaining what was actually going on. Being the unironic fanboy he is for Destiny, and after having been watching them for 5 years now, oozing over their quality content, as compared to barely any of JonTron that has quite the amount of effort for entertainment put into them. Now, JonTron does have quality entertainment, but if you watch Destiny as well, it's not like he's got a stinking scratchy cell phone microphone, and his video quality isn't bad. It's not like a 280p stream. You can go on there and everything's HD and everything. He desperately tries his own means to defend a pedophile by saying what he said about how it should be legal to sexually exploit children is somehow taken out of context, which apparently anything else JonTron said, despite the actual explanation behind it, was not taken out of context at all. You see, Gio, you're doing this again. You're lying to yourself. You're putting words into Arcono's mouth. You're claiming that Arcono was claiming that JonTron is a racist, when Arcono was not claiming that. You just heard Arcono say he still said some pretty stupid stuff. And then you assumed that Arcono, when he said stupid stuff, was saying that JonTron is a racist. And now you're on this mental bend to try and do anything you can to try and make Arcono look bad. Because you want to be right. Dear God, what a fine time to be living in for these kinds of people. Haha, very funny. We're like SJW Tumblr boys or something. And to further explain this whole cluster, it's no doubt one of his friends easily sides with him, especially seeing how they've known each other for quite a while now. That when it comes to whoever was their friend the longest, apparently they get more of the upper hand instead of anything else of what anyone else says, despite the detailed counter-argument provided and proven over and over. Yes, you did provide that information over and over again, but it was the exact same thing. It wasn't proven, it wasn't justified. You just basically copy-pasted everything because you don't want to admit that maybe you may be, in the wrong in this situation. It's not a bad thing to admit that maybe something is being taken out of context, and maybe that YouTubers are trying to make this person look bad simply because they got mad at him over a debate. So again, let's keep this in mind that neither of these two bothered to listen to others' evaluations from the whole scenario, and only took in what they believed in instead of looking into further and deeper observations of the subject, and they are simply bending this whole thing into something it really isn't. Now, Gio, you're bending this into something it really isn't. You're claiming that my friend thinks JonTron is a racist, and that me and him are biased and only listen to one source, when in reality, you're projecting. You're the one that blindly believes that Destiny is a pedophile only from one source, two sources of information, and you're not going and looking into deeper investigation. Deeper investigation would be looking at some of Destiny's stuff and evaluating it for yourself. But no, you're too afraid to be wrong because that big fat ego of yours is about to pop if someone says you're wrong and it turns out, oh hey, you're actually wrong. And let's definitely forget the part about how Destiny was bragging about molesting a child while actually plotting to murder someone. How effed up. Wait, no. You said that he was a pedophile. You never said that he was bragging. This is new. Also, the part about murdering someone, I'm not too sure about that, but oh, guess what? You can go around and look for that information yourself. This video is about you, Gio. It's not really about Destiny. It just so happens that he's involved in this situation. It's simple. They want me to deem JonTron as somehow being this racist Nazi that he isn't, over something that was taken out of context intentionally by these kinds of people. Bragging about molesting a child. told one of his friends to commit suicide, which they actually did, and effing laughed about it. Intentionally went out of his way to take down videos that can be proven against him and his shoddy personality. Now, that last piece of information Gio mentioned was taken out of context. You see, that was an issue with Sargon of Akkad, which, by the way, Sargon was taking clips from Destiny's livestream and taking them out of context, posting them up on his own meme channel, and making Destiny look bad. When Destiny found this stuff, he honestly was a bit confused, and then he eventually started the whole DMCA junk because his fans were saying that he should. If you want to see a more detailed video explaining exactly what was going on, I'll have it linked in the description and you can go check that out. Anyway, back to Retardville now. He cheated on his own underage girlfriend and solicited? Wait, what is solicit? Verb. Ask for or try to obtain something from someone. Oh, okay, I didn't know that word. And solicited explicit images from the underage individual. Tried to argue that rape is somehow a lot better than being beaten and or stabbed. How do I explain to my daughter incest is wrong? Is it actually wrong? I don't know. This is a crazy effing thing. And once was swearing to kill someone after finding their address over a video game. Now, if he actually was trying to kill someone over a video game, what he would have done is he would have swatted them. Remember swatting? Yeah, that was a meme back in like 2014. It was a terrible meme at that. Please don't revive it. And as for the whole daughter thing, he has a son. Why the F do they want me to defend Destiny instead of JonTron? I have no idea. Well, here's the thing, Giovanni. We weren't trying to get you to hate JonTron, and we weren't trying to get you to love Destiny. We were just saying that what you were saying was wrong. It would be best to ask them personally, since I don't really have that kind of mindset, because I choose not to be that blissfully ignorant, and apparently that means I have some sort of pride to defend? Yes, you do have a big fat inflated ego that you want to defend. You brag about how you know so much, you don't back it up with proper sources, and you refuse to listen to anyone else's point of view. You're acting like one of these SJWs you see running around in colleges. The ones that don't want to hear opposing views and hide away from opposing views because they don't want to be wrong. They're definitely not trying to grab on straws at this point to try and make it so as if their point was any valid to begin with. Now you're just telling a lie to make yourself feel good. That's all this is you ran away from us and to your Steam group so you could make this giant big rant without getting a response. Look, even disabled comments. They're going to do anything they can to defend the one who's actually guilty in this situation by claiming it's all somehow a fake story that was taken out of context, despite him actually swearing it and going out of his way to attempt to remove any evidence before it was too late. Once again, Sargon's videos actually were little clips of him that were taken out of context. You can once again go down in the description and watch that video and see what that entire situation with Sargon and Destiny was. He is trying to hide something, and these people are in clear denial of it. Out of context. There's really nothing to defend him for on that point, especially if they have already been responsible for it. They want me to determine that this crazy F is more rational and should be considered to have a much stronger argument over someone who is falsely accused of being racist, which was never proven. Not to mention how they've been desperately trying to tell me about how the statistic is false because some other biased source said so. How legitimate. Yes, we are saying it's false because you're only using two people as your source, and one of them is very biased against Destiny. Though, at the end of this entire situation, Destiny isn't the real problem here. Destiny wasn't the reason this turned into a big fight. You are. You are, Geo, because you're full of self-pride, and you can't admit to being wrong, and you always need to be right. You talk bad about other people, whether they are bad or they are good, simply because it makes you feel better about yourself. And remember that these people wanted me to watch and listen to a lecture by Destiny of how pedophilia should be legal, along with many others that benefit no one and for society at all, as it's also simply a crime against the multiple forms of humanity. Not to mention, if they believed in so willingly that they think that it's all fake. Dang it! This guy's stuff is so hard to read. That it's all a fake, while anything JonTron said is true, even though they intentionally took it out of context to advance their political agenda propaganda. You can look on my Discord server, and you can see that there's no JonTron hate memes. I don't believe JonTron is a Nazi. My friend Arcono does not believe JonTron is a Nazi. This is all stupid. The comments section says otherwise, as they only further reinforce and confirm the claims against him. It's the current year, you guys, and it sure is fine time to be alive. Woe is me, and I should be paid for doing these kinds of things, seeing how I do a lot more research than these people. Geo, give me a break. Just give me 2 breaks, not 1. You owe me 2 because you went and put this stupid rant up on your stinking Steam group. What you did is you ran away from me and Arcono. You could have posted your comment. We weren't going to delete it. We would have kept going with that debate. It would have been perfectly fine. Everything would have worked out fine. We never deleted any of your previous comments. And we were, not going to ban you or anything. But you see what this all sums up to, Geo, is you're a safe spacer. You are acting like an SJW. You run away from other people's opposing views and opposing arguments, only to go to an area where people will agree with you and support you and listen to you. You aren't staying with me and Arcono and having an argument because you don't want to admit you're wrong. You're too full of self-pride. Your ego is too big. I wouldn't be surprised if you tried to say sorry, or you tried to say maybe I'm wrong, and you just choked up and died because the words just can't come out. Basically, Giovanni, he's a big fat liar. He goes and he makes up stuff. He takes it out of context, assumes that out of context information is correct, pats himself on the back, and not once have I heard him say, I'm wrong, ever. It also makes me wonder, if he's this bad, I wonder, why is he banned on Fur Affinity?